to the podcast version of 32 Bar Cut, the show, a series for performers, about performers, made by performers. Every week, we give audition advice, share personal experiences, and sit down with fellow colleagues in the performing arts to chat about their life in the industry. If you are hearing this message, you are not currently a subscriber and will only be hearing the first half of the podcast. If you would like to hear the full interview, including the Curtain Call series, you'll want to head over to 32barcut.com, where you can find a link to our Patreon page. There you will have exclusive access to the entire video and private RSS podcast feed, as well as other subscriber-only content. Thanks for listening. Without further ado, on to the show.
She shuffled along with the best of them, kept it fetch in Mean Girls, and played her part in The Circle of Life. But today she is sitting down with us talking about her life as a performer. Welcome to the show, Zurin Villanueva.
Thank you. That's the best intro ever.
We try to do our best in our humble Brooklyn abode. We want to make you feel special if we can.
Brooklyn. I'm born and raised.
I remember that when I met your mom when we went to the Lion King premiere and you were telling me you were from Brooklyn. So what part of Brooklyn are you from?
Clinton Hill.
Clinton Hill,
Fort Greene area, and then my mother moved to Bed-Stuy, but Clinton Hill, Fort Greene, Spike Lee's Brooklyn, I say, hey.
Yes, Spike Lee's Brooklyn, absolutely. Did you get a chance to see She Hate Me?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Did you like eat it up? You were like, yes, I know that place, that place, that place.
Of course. He goes to the same places like over and over again.
I think, yeah, he's has a love story with Brooklyn. And I feel like all of his, well, not all of his movies, but a lot of his movies are a love story for Brooklyn. So it's very cool.
When you're from Brooklyn, you love it. You love it.
So how are you doing? I know it's been an interesting, what are we on, 11 months now of
oh my God.
being off of the Broadway stage, but how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing better than I would have expected. If like someone told me a year ago, like this was gonna happen, I would have been like, no. I feel a lot better than I thought. So the first like 8 months, I was exhausted. I was completely burnt out. Like actually burnt out. And then around 8 months, like it started like, oh, okay, this is happening. Then it was like, okay, I need to sing. I need to dance. I need to do something for people. I need people to watch me. And that'll just give me my fix and I'll be fine.
I feel you on that because
I'm starting to feel the burn. I'm starting to feel her.
You're starting to feel her?
Feel the burn.
Feel the burn. Yeah. That itch to like get back and perform and show people what you're about, what you can offer. There's such a reward in that. I feel like when you go on stage and you do your thing, you present it, and then you get an applause. But when we do like the virtual performances, it feels like you are singing to your computer and then that's it. Like I don't ever feel the
it's the response, energy. Like feeling their energy, taking you in. Yeah, it's all about that. It's all about that. I actually did a virtual solo show last August, which was my first solo show I've ever done. And I did it virtually, and it was through Metropolitan Zoom, which means like you could see all of the people who were in the room. So it was just like little squares up there, like kind of like what they do with sports, and you can just see the digital squares. And I still like, I couldn't feel them obviously, but seeing them nod and clap and smile definitely did help. It was something.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to look more into that Metropolitan Zoom. So was that it was that Zoom, but they just like changed the format of it, or?
Well, it's through the Metropolitan Room, which is a real space in the city, and that owner, Bernie Frischman, he put together a Zoom thing, like so that actors and performers could do a live concert for their friends and fans and such.
I love that. I'm so glad you got a chance to do that. And so I know we're going to talk about this later, but just because we're talking about virtual performances, you're doing the Broadway Sings concert.
Yeah.
So you can book Zurin on the Broadway Sings if you want a birthday party or anniversary, or just you want to hear her voice.
Karaoke party, Friday party.
She is available.
Party, anything.
So, we know each other through The Lion King, which is such an amazing show. And I never really got a chance to know you like I wanted to. And I know that that's kind of the nature of being a replacement at a big show like The Lion King, is that everyone already has their friends and it's very difficult to make new connections. So I'm really glad that we're getting this chance to sit down and talk, because I feel like I'm really going to get to know you now. And that makes me very happy. So,
yes, I always wanted to get to know you. I was like, she's so pretty.
Oh, oh my goodness.
Like, no, you're such a light and a joy and a lightness in that building. And I was like, I bet you she's cool.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, Zurin.
I'm such a little girl in new environments. I just feel like, okay, hey, and you always responded. And I always registered that.
Well, I'm glad I was able to be some semblance of light for you in that space, because I know it's difficult. It is very difficult to join The Lion King. I have been there before, and I know what it is like. So I'm glad that I'm glad you didn't catch me on a bad day, I'll say. So you are a Howard alum. Yes, you went to the theater program at Howard. Yes. And so I have quite a few friends that graduated from that program in different years, but every time I meet a Howard alum that graduated from the theater department, there's so much pride and joy and just a feeling of pride in what you learned and being a part of that legacy. So can you tell us a little bit about what it was like to matriculate through that program?
Yes, of course. First thing, I know you noticed that anytime you even mentioned Howard University around HU alum, the first thing you hear is HU, and it's the whole thing, and it's hilarious. So what was it like? It was like coming home. It felt like home. It felt I actually didn't want to go. My mother made me go.
Was your mom a Howard alum as well?
No, she was just a huge advocate of historically Black colleges and universities. And Howard University was the only HBCU that had an accredited arts program in terms of a BFA as opposed to a. And so that was the only choice out of all of them. And I wanted to go to conservatory. I was a very serious actress. I went to LaGuardia High School. I was trained in Stanislavski, and I was like, I have to go to conservatory. And she was like, no. No, ma'am. She said, well, if you want to go there, you will have to pay for yourself. Because she was like, I'm not paying 6 figures for you to be, policed in what roles you could play and held back because of race, and she was like, I don't want that to happen for you. I want you to train in the place where you're free. And it took a few years for me to realize what that was. And then when I did, it was like, see, the difference was that it bolstered your self-esteem. It was really about self-esteem. And we know as actors, like that is the goal over the skill, because there are people of all kinds of skills that have huge careers. It's not necessarily about the skill after a certain point. It's really about what you believe in yourself and your place in the world. If you believe in yourself and what you can offer the arts, no one can stop.
Amen.
No. So that's what I got from there. Like they matriculated and held us and like baby birds and told us we were the flyest thing. And we left and we believed it. And it was wonderful.
I went to Spelman College and I didn't do a theater program, but when you talk about an HBCU and the pride that you leave with, I think it is so important. My friend recently, we do a weekly house party call because we got sick of Zoom. So we do a house party call. But we meet every Friday and we talk about how we're doing, or maybe we'll talk about something we want to share with each other. And my friend last week, he said, I want to know what you think about what Joe Budden said. And I was like, well, what did Joe Budden say? And he was like, Joe Budden said that every Black student should go to an HBCU. And I thought about that and I thought it was kind of extreme, but I understand why he said it. Because the self-esteem I left with when I left Spelman was necessary for me to take the next step in life. And I hear from my other friends, my other Black friends who went to predominantly white colleges, and how they kind of never, not never, but didn't quite feel like they could be themselves 100% of the time. And school is hard anyway. High school is hard anyway. You know, there's a lot of icky feelings about getting used to yourself and who you are and who you want to be. But what you don't have to worry about at an HBCU is your race. And that takes so much off the table when it comes to interpersonal relationships. Yeah. And so
that's what a lot of people say that all the time. They say at a Black school, it's just, you're just Black all the time. And it's like, no, actually, I'm not. I'm Zurin.
Yeah.
I'm not Black at all.
Yeah.
Black is gone.
It's gone.
It's all right. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not something that you have to worry about. And when it comes to diversity, HBCUs are diverse because guess what? You got the folks that are, more laid back over here. You've got the studious poli-sci over here. You've got the future activists over here.
You realize just how many different ways there are to be Black.
Yes.
There isn't just one way.
Absolutely.
There are a trillion ways. Like, look at all these different kinds of Black people that I didn't even know existed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's so important. It's so cool.
So what do you think about what Joe Budden said? Do you agree with that? Do you think it's extreme, or are you like, what do you think?
If you ask me as a young person, if you asked me at 21, I would have been like, no, that's not. I mean, yeah, great. It's great. But I was like, after being in the business for 10 years, after being out with all of the different kinds of people, I have learned that, yes, I agree. I completely agree. It can be undergrad, it can be graduate school, it can be med school, law school, whatever. But at some point during your educational career, absolutely, you should go to a HBCU. Because number one, those are the places that people look for Black people to hire. When all of these big companies need to fill their diversity quota, they go to Black schools to find Black people. So that is one thing. And that self-esteem during that part of your life from 18 to 22, where you really are on shaky ground and you're really formulating who you are, that support and that in your self-esteem and being who you are and that freedom you get, that is invaluable. That is invaluable and then when you go out into the world and you meet other people, you are steady in yourself and you know what you want and what you don't want and how to express yourself, and you're not trapped in fear. And I definitely have had moments where I get trapped in fear, and then it's not like I'm never scared. Of course, I'm scared all the time. But when that happens, I know that it is fear and I can make the choice to do something else. As opposed to operating out of being what you think other people want you to be.
I think that is key in the profession that we're in. I mean, it definitely translates to other professions, I'm sure. But when you get a casting call and you get the sides and you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this audition, It is very difficult, or it can be difficult. I don't want to say it's very difficult because everyone's experience is different. But for me, it can be difficult to not focus on what do I think they want instead of just looking at the size and deciding, how do I want to become this character?
Yeah.
And I think when you're navigating relationships and networking and you don't have that foundation of who you are as a person, you may find yourself in conversations with directors or casting directors or your castmates and asking that same question. What is it that they want from me? How can I be accommodating in this moment? How can I be less aggressive, or whatever society has told you that I am before you met me? And I think matriculating through an HBCU kind of, you forget all of that for a while, and you're able to just stand firm in what you have to offer.
Yeah. Your true self, your true self, your soul self, you know, that is just everything.
I really want to hear about what it was like after you graduated from Howard. You went back to New York and you started hitting the pavement. What was that experience like with all this newfound pride in yourself and your craft?
Oh, it was my favorite time. My favorite time was that young, just off the boat, fresh, like, yes, I'll do whatever you want. That feeling, it's everything. It is just the sweetest, most genuine thing that can come from a young actor. And I actually was really, really fortunate. I got my equity card before I graduated.
Wow.
In Crowns at Arena Stage. My senior year, my second semester senior year, we performed during that spring, and I was able to graduate with my equity card. I played Yolanda, who was a young girl from Brooklyn. And
perfect.
Right, and her brother gets shot in Brooklyn, and her mother sends her other child to hang out with her grandmother in the South. And so she's surrounded by all of these older women who are in the church and have so much pride in themselves, and to just bolster her back up from that trauma. And it was so great. It was wonderful. It was my first principal contract, my first equity contract, and surrounded by all these amazing Black women. Natasha Yvette Williams was one of them.
Wow.
Boykin was in it. Like it was Margaret Hicks. It was amazing.
That is an incredible way to finish a college degree. Like,
insane. It was absolutely insane. So I was like, had my equity card, so I didn't have to wait on the line. I was like, woo, front of the line. I was too happy. Like, it was too much. But I was living in Brooklyn with my mom, and I was able to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, run down there, sign in for 6 auditions, come back home, get dressed, get warm, go back there, audition for between 3 and 5 p.m., get a drink, and then go wait tables. And that was my life for like 3 years at least, on and off and stuff. But
that's a really great setup. It took me 2 years to get my equity card. And so it's a coveted thing, right? It's like, you have that moment of being non-union, and then you're union and you're so proud of it. But it sounds like you just were like, nah, I graduated, I'm union, and now I'm going to audition on. And I think it's fantastic. It doesn't work that way. Not always.
No, it usually doesn't. And I know all the stories about the weeks and the counting and the lists and the equity wait lists. And I was like, woo, I don't got to be on that. Okay. Yeah.
So when you were at Howard, did they explain all of that to you, like the union and everything? You had a good sense of what all of it meant?
Actually, I didn't. When I got the job, they were like, oh, do you want to be equity, or do you want like the other thing, the points or weeks or something? And I did not understand the difference. And I didn't understand that because I was going back to New York, it would behoove me to be equity. So I almost turned it down. And it was like this whole thing where I kind of turned it down. And then I was like, and then I spoke to someone and they were like, what? That's stupid. And I was like, well, why didn't anyone tell me? And then I called back, and I didn't know that the dues come out of your paycheck. I thought they were asking me to give them $1,300. And I was like, ah. And I was like, well, you have to put that in the contract. I don't have $1,300. And they were like, what? And I was like, what? I had no idea what was going on. So when I finally figured it out, sort of too late, then I was like, then I had to fix it. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Like, no one believed that I didn't know. They thought I just wanted more money. And I was just like, no, I didn't know. I thought you were asking me for $1,100. I don't have $1,100. It was a mess. It was a mess. I don't know how Howard missed that one.
But no, I think that is important because, even like in high school where we don't really get a class on how to do our taxes or how to budget our accounts, I think that some of the business side of this profession gets lost. And for me, I know it's different. I did classical voice. I had no intention of being on Broadway until I was like 25. It wasn't even on my radar. But I think it is important to talk about those things because say you were going to a different market, say you were going to be in DC or you were going to Atlanta or you're going to Chicago, maybe you wouldn't want to be equity yet because then you can't do the non-union work.
Exactly. And if I was going to stay in DC, then that would have been a good option. But like I was going to be in New York. There's no point. Like that. Yeah, those distinctions definitely would have helped.
Yeah. So
I smoothed it over. I was like, no, guys, I wasn't gouging you for money. I was just like, I don't have it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, oh my gosh. Oh, what a mess.
That's a good story. I'm glad we kind of stumbled on that.
Yeah, I forgot about that story.
So I know that, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but Shuffle Along was your Broadway debut, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I got to see you. Yes, I did.
I wasn't there.
You weren't there? Oh, well, okay. Well, I got to see your company, at least. I got to see your company. And who knows, I might have seen you. Because, I'm sure you went on. You never went on? No, stop. Zurin, you never went on?
I never went on. I was the only cast member that never went on. I was actually a standby, even though they billed me as swing, which is detrimental in other ways because now people ask me to swing and I'm like, I don't do that. They're like, but you did. No, standby. But that was a way of them saving money. So I was a standby. I was understudying Asia Warren and Amber Iman and Felicia Boswell.
3 powerhouses.
Yes, honey. Yes. Honey. And I was so excited. Felicia Boswell left the show, and then I was understudying 2. And then we closed early, and I didn't go.
There wasn't time, but you would have gone on, I'm sure. And it was
eventually, but vacations. There's some strong females. They ain't calling out for nothing.
No.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it was a fun show. I took my sister. My sister and I went. I was in town learning my NALA track. And so I had the evenings off and I was going to see whatever I could afford and whatever I had time for it, so I was like on Today Ticks. And so we did get a chance to see the show and I was excited to tell you that today. And
funny story. I had auditioned for NALA years before 2016. I wasn't yet, right?
Yeah.
Then 2016 happened. I got that audition for NALA.
You did?
I did not go.
You didn't go?
I didn't go. I didn't go because I was completely in love with Shuffle Along and I knew I was going to go on and I knew this was going to be great and a launching pad and all that stuff. And then we closed.
Well, it's those decisions we'll never know how they'll shake out, And so it's like you just go with your gut in the moment and hope that you don't have any regrets. Because honestly, just the opportunity for you to be in that cast, in that room with all of those amazing actors, you have connections with them, and there's nothing like forging a connection with someone when you do an experience together because it just, I don't know, it could help and serve you in other ways later on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I auditioned, and I wasn't even in New York. I sent in a tape, and I was like, this is a long shot. And so when I flew in for the callback, I was like, well, I have nothing to lose. So I'm just, and
yeah, yeah.
But now you are in the company of the Lion King, and so who knows what will happen in the next few years, and maybe you'll get your shot at Nala if you're still interested. I don't know. Now that you've gone on, you might be like, do I want to do this 8 times a week?
I love Nala. I did not know about the running and jumping. They really should tell you that.
They really leave that part out. You're like, okay, so I sing, someone lifts me. No, it's basically a sprint.
That's a whole thing. That was a whole emotional reaction in terms of giving my trust over to another being. You know, that's a whole thing.
The trust leap.
She's like FloJo. She's not playing.
No, she's not playing. I went on the first day of rehearsal for the Nala Simba fight. Ruth Lynn said to me, "Okay, I just want to see how you run and jump on him naturally." I said, "Ruth Lynn, I don't run and jump on anybody. I don't. Never. I'm 5'9". I don't run and jump on anyone. They don't want me to. I don't do it." And she was like, "Oh, you're so silly. Go run and jump on him."
They always say how silly. It was like, no, you didn't hear me.
I'm being serious.
Amazon, what do you mean?
Yes.
He needs to run and jump on me.
Right. I got you. Come on. I got you. Come on. That is real. Yeah. It is something they should explain. Like even the dance call for the audition, you really still don't know how physical it is. And yeah, I've never been stronger in my life. Yep. So yeah.
Core.
Okay, so Shuffle Along closes, and now you're hitting the pavement again, I imagine. But you do workshops and readings, right?
I have, not many. I haven't done many, but I've done a few.
So did you do the workshop for Mean Girls before it went on, or did you?
Yes.
You did.
We did that in April. Yeah.
Yeah. How was it? What was the workshop like? Like seeing all these mega people in there, and
right? No, that was great. Tina Fey is so cool and so chill and a good, cool observer and quick, and she's just wonderful. And I had worked with Casey Nicola before doing Book of Mormon. He was just coming in. I was doing it on tour, so he was just coming in, giving notes and stuff. But at least I was kind of familiar with the way he worked.
Yes,
he's a light and a joy and loves to just have fun. And so that just eases everyone. His assistant is awesome, and so we were trying a lot of different things. There was a lot of vocabulary, and we would stick it in different places. And he would be like, "What about this? What about that?" Like getting the lunch table, where do you belong together, where we literally use our feet to ride the lunch tables all over the stage. That was so much fun. It's one of my favorite numbers, actually. But it's a lot of work. You got to push and stop and all together. And and I remember when we were doing the trayography, my thumbs felt like they were going to fall off after the first day. I was like, oh my God, my thumb. Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm hurt. And it was like, no, honey, you're just sore. Okay.
It's broken.
It's broken. No, but it turned out to be one of my favorite numbers. I love that number.
I wish I could have seen it. I never got a chance to see Mean Girls. It just didn't shake out where I could see it, but I know it's like a huge sensation and a cult classic, if you will.
Oh, yeah. It was so fun. Everyone in the company was super, super young and green and just so out to just really have a good time. And we had so many inside jokes. And so we really, really had a good time. Like we had too much fun. Like it was like, okay, back to the work. And we're like, okay, we stop. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's just like play. It's a good time. It doesn't feel like work.
Yep.
Those are some of the best experiences because then you make good relationships, you make good friendships with those people, and you can be excited and happy to go to work, and it doesn't feel like a chore, you know?
Yeah.
Because that Broadway grind, the 8 shows a week, it is a dream. I don't want people to get me wrong, but it is a dream. But it is also a lot of work, and it's good to be in good company. Because when you're in good company, then it doesn't always feel like work.
Absolutely. That's true. And me and my girls were very close. All of the ensemble girls, we were close. And it was just so wonderful. We would be in there, jumping around, making silly jokes, talking about sex backstage, like, farting and laughing at each other. Like we were just really comfortable, and it was wonderful.
Oh man, you reminded me of my time when I was in Chicago. I felt like every cast felt like that, like absolutely ridiculous. Like you were making lifelong friends. I feel like I have lifelong friends now in The Lion King. I didn't feel like it would ever feel like that when I first got there. Just because everyone already has their own friends and cliques, and not even cliques really, just friendships. And then they have their own lives and families at home that I wasn't sure if I would ever fit in, or if there was room for me. But now, you know, especially with Ceedee and Benita and Bravida, I feel like, oh no, I have friends for life here. Yeah, definitely.
That's wonderful.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you about Clueless. Do you want to chat about Clueless a little bit?
I love Clueless.
Okay, so my sister and I watched Clueless so much.
My sister too! That's all we did.
Oh my gosh, it's like rolling with the homies, you know.
Rolling with the homies.
So what was it like to do that show? You played Dion, right?
I played Dion. Man, that day, that was a good day. That was a good freaking day. It was so amazing to call my sister, who made me learn that movie from top to bottom, and tell her, guess what? Guess what I'm about to do? At first I said Clueless, and she's like, ah! No, wait. It's Dion. Like, just lost her whole mind. We were on that phone for like 20 minutes just screaming. Like just and that was just so wonderful. So I am a huge fan of Clueless. Dion was my whole joint when I was a kid. So being cast in the musical of Clueless, I couldn't even, I was like, I can't believe I did it. I finally did it. And it was my first principal in New York. My first principal contract in New York City, something that would possibly go to Broadway. This is that next step that I have been looking for since Shuffle, you know, and I'm just like, oh my God. And to work with the original screenwriter, Amy Heckerling, like she's sitting right there, like, what? It's just, oh my God, it's so great. So Clueless was fast. The whole process was fast. We had to get her up expeditiously. I think I was expecting a little bit more workshop time, but we were seriously on a clock, so we had to just like go with our instincts and go with that. You know, and not second guess it, and that's freeing in another way as well, you know. And our cast had a lot of fun as well, and the choreography was wonderful, and it was everything. I had my own Murray. Everyone loves Murray, and then it's like, okay, this is Murray. And you're like, Murray. Did they keep all over the place? I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
Did they keep a lot of the scenes from the film, like the when they're driving on the freeway? That seems like it'd be difficult to do. Did they have anything like that in there?
Yes, we did have the freeway thing. But it was during a song, so we didn't do any scene work. You know, like, look at the numbers on the top. What did the numbers on the top say?
That's good. That's good.
I missed that. Oh, thank you. Man, I'm crazy. They actually didn't do that, so that was a singing part. So we sang our way into the party.
Adrian and I hope that you have enjoyed listening to the show thus far. If you'd like to hear the full interview and get access to the curtain call, head on over to 32barcut.com, where you can find a link to our Patreon page. There you will have exclusive access to the entire video collection and private RSS podcast feed, as well as other subscriber-only content. All right, that's all I got. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.